Hello everybody. Even when the station has gone to shit and the power's all out, I'm going to teach you how to turn Botany from your measly little starting into something like this.
Attention.
Okay everybody, hello and welcome to Botany. My name's Damon Maxim, and let's grow some plants. Now, the first thing we're going to do in Botany is actually, depending on the station, is we're going to leave Botany. And what we have to do is we have to head to the equipment room. We have to say, who's this? It's Huck. Hello, Huck. So what we do is we need to get all our tools. Good to find them all. If you can't find them because someone like Huck stole them all, what you can do is you can go to here. You can go to this tool thing and you can click on it and you can buy them. Try not to spend all your money though, because we will need the money for later. So you get your tools. You're going to need pretty much all the tools. There's fun. And you're going to take a cell.
Attention.
You only need one cell. And then what we're going to do is we're going to grab our wrench and we're going to take the cell charger. The reason we need the cell and the cell charger is to recharge our Chem dispenser. This thing. So we're just going to go and do that. We'll put that right beside it. Put that in for safekeeping. And what I like to do is I just like to empty the toolbox here. I'll just put it all into my backpack. Take that. Toolbox is here somewhere. Cool. Okay. Now this is our mega seed vendor. And this is our tool vendor, essentially, where you can buy your tools and bottles of robust harvest, easy nutrient, blah, 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 blah. So these are all the seeds you can buy. Now for botany it's free, but if you're not a botanist, you have to pay for them. So what I like to do is I like to start out with watermelon, 100%. A pack of the top one, Ambrosia Vulgaris. And then we'll take a grass. But mostly the watermelon is going to be important for us. And the pack of Ambrosia Vulgaris. And we'll put the seed in here. Now lights are going to appear on these, on our plant trays. Okay. There's Pete's beating someone up back there, I think. Cook's probably getting his ass beat. So yeah. So the plants are going to grow and they're going to consume water. Now we can go through this. What I like to do is you're going to find a bucket. Hopefully there's a bucket. And then what we're going to do is we're going to get a beaker. Okay. But sometimes if there isn't a beaker, case like this, just go to your grinder and take out the large beaker from the grinder. See that? I'm going to hold a bunch more. So we're going to have... Oh, we started with a bucket apparently. So we got one of these and one of these. Now, we're just going to go to the back room here and we're going to open up our locker. And you can do this in any order. You can go to your locker first and get this stuff and then go get the cell charger. Sometimes the chemist likes to take the cell charger, even though he has one. So I like to put the belt on, take the hatchet. We'll take these portable plant discs. I'll teach you about the plant discs in a bit. Put that down there. We'll take the seed bag, essentially. Essentially it's a seed bag. And we'll take the cultivator. Now, depending on what you start with, each station's a little different. You can start with different items, but essentially cultivator, plant analyzer, and your bucket. Okay? Now, eventually, some things are going to happen to these. They're either going to run out of water, and it's going to flash different lights at you on the bottom. Depending on what it needs, it's going to flash it. You can also use the plant analyzer. So if we take this plant analyzer here, we analyze the watermelon vines. I think what we'll do right now is we'll just take off the radio headset. Just so we can be in our own little world. So potency. Potency is at 10. It can get up to 100. And that's how big something is and how potent it is. But essentially it's the size. The yield, so it should give you 3. It usually gives you a bit like 1 more than it says here. So if it's 3, it might give you 3.5 and then it'll round up to 4. Maturation speed, it's how quick it's going to mature into full grown. And then if it's a perennial, if it has a trait of perennial growth, it's going to repeat that growing. So you don't need to replant it. If it doesn't have perennial growth, you can only harvest it once. So grass is a perennial growth, so I can harvest it. And it'll keep growing. And see how it's really small? It's because the potency is super small. To increase potency, it's actually super easy. All it is a chemical, one chemical, and we'll open up the minor botanical chemical dispenser. Wow, that's a mouthful. And what we'll do is it's saltpetre. Saltpetre is the key to making potency big. So we'll load up the bucket. I like to use the bucket. And as you see here, it's going to tell us the amount we want to dispense. So I try to go to the maximum amount. Now, if we put in the large beaker, it's going to go even higher. See, watch, we'll put in the large beaker here, and we'll get our bucket, and it'll go to 100. So we can put in 100. But let's put back our, keep our beaker safe. Let's put back our bucket, and we'll load it up with saltpetre. Now everything you can change by clicking on it, you can change the transfer amounts. So what I like to do to save my mouse's lifespan, so I'm not clicking so much because you're going to click a lot, is to set this to 70 units. Once it goes to the maximum, it'll restart. So 70 units. Now, if we harvest these here, all of them are perennial, so all of them will keep growing. I'll teach you about the lights in a sec. So we're going to load up that, and every time we do, it's going to increase the potency by about quite a bit. So as you see here, it's got the potency up to 44, so we'll harvest it. And see, it's a little bigger than that one, right? Which is good. And so that was a whole 70 units of saltpetre. So we'll just try that one more time. And so it's at 37 now. We'll put some saltpetre on it. And now it's at 72. So if we just do that once more, that'll get us all the way up to 100. Now as you see here, this yellow thing means it wants nutrients. So the best is honestly Bottle of Robust Harvest. And if you check here, we can see down below weed level is 2 out of 10, pest level 0 out of 10. So if it has pests, you can get the pest spray. Toxicity level, so if you use the pest spray, it's going to increase the toxicity. And then the water level. When the water level runs out, it'll have a blue icon to tell you that there's water. So look how big that grass is with all the saltpetre. Now, taking saltpetre from the Chem dispenser is using energy, right? So that's why we have the cell charger. So eventually, we'll just use the screwdriver here, we'll open it up. And you can exchange the cells back and forth to repower it up. And that's the main reason. So that's Valerie, and she's bringing me the bounties. So every ship, there's usually 2 bounties that Cargonia wants, or cargo. So they want egg dash plants, so it's actually like an egg plant. And then they want ghost chili peppers. So if we look, which is going to be a kind of a good segue here. I think that was the max cap going off. If we look, we're going to see in the vendor that there is no such thing as, there's eggplant, but there's no such thing as egg dash plant. And then there's also no such thing as the other one, which was, it was the chili one. Sometimes I scroll too fast. And they want glowberries apparently as well. Oh, that's interesting. The ghost chili peppers. So if we look, we have chili peppers, but we don't have ghost chili peppers, right? So what we're going to do is we'll plant the chili. So So all this wants some nutrients. Now, you can use easy nutrients. I just use robust harvest. In a moment, it's not even going to matter once we get some Ambrosia Gaia. So let's talk about a nice segue, which is mutating plants. So what I like to do is I like to set this large beaker to 5 unit transfers. So it goes up to 100, but 5. And then we're going to fill this up with unstable mutagen. And that's what's going to mutate our plants into something completely different. So we're going to eject that. Now the right dose to use is 5. So if you're using any more than 5, it's not going to, it will work, but it's just like a waste essentially. So we're going to just keep, we're going to do this on the Ambrosia Vulgaris. And so the first thing you want to do as a botanist is mutate this Ambrosia Vulgaris twice. So I'm just clicking on it. I keep clicking on it. I've used it like 9 times already. We're just gonna, I'm just looking for the plant to change or for the words down here to say that it's changed from Ambrosia Vulgaris to something different. So there, it just changed there, and it's sometimes hard to see, so you got to be on your game here. Ambrosia Vulgaris suddenly mutates into Ambrosia Deuce. So we need to do it one more time. We need to. So we ran out of mutagens, so we're gonna have to go back, and it's really just RNG here. So it could happen on the first time, it could happen on the 100th time, but usually it happens somewhere in between. Sometimes with Botany, I'm really lucky. Sometimes with Botany, I have horrible luck. It's all sort of, it's very RNG with Botany, but you can eventually force it. So if we look here, the blue means it needs water, and if it doesn't get water, it's going to die. So most things, you can fill it up at the sink as well, but most things we got these water tanks. So I'm just going to click on the water tank, and depending on the transfer rate of the bucket, depends on how much it fills up, right? So it's empty because we have a contains nothing, and I only got to click once, so it kind of saves my mouse a lot of clicks. And we'll just fill them all up with water here. Now the flashing red light means there's weeds. I'm just going to do this one really quickly. But we'll, now, when you mutate it into Ambrosia Gaia, the weeds go crazy in Ambrosia Gaia. So you literally just have to almost sit here and watch Ambrosia Gaia. If you don't sit here and watch it, it'll mutate into a mushroom. So just sit here and watch the Gaia. This thing, it flashes, and if we look, the flashing means that it has weeds. And so we're just going to use the cultivator, and we're just going to take out the weeds. You remove the weeds from the chili plant. So it needs water, so we're just going to go fill it up with some water here again. Now look, see how small those watermelons are? So what we want to do, because watermelons are cool, we're going to saltpetre them, right? So we'll do that. Usually it's about 3 times and you get it to 100 potency. Now we can keep going through these. Maturation speed, I think we left at. It's how long it takes for it to mature, and then the production speed, that's going to be how long it takes to regrow its fruits essentially. So all these are flashing, so we want to weed them out here. We really want to watch this Ambrosia Gaia. If it gets out of control, it's going to be crazy. See, it already has weeds back in it. It's nuts. Oh, I already had one. But what I also like to do is I like to grab one of these mini bottles, I like to call them essentially. And we'll keep that as well. And let's start putting some of these in our botanical belt. So you see, we use 1 saltpeter on it, so we're just gonna see how much bigger they got. but that's not even full. I like to kind of keep these out of the way so I can see when I scan. So 84, it's almost full. So let's do one more round of saltpeter. And it's flashing. It says weeds probably, but it's not weeds, it's something else. So let's check to see what it is. It's pests. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go into here and we'll get the pest spray. And we'll spray it. We'll spray it again. There we go. See, weeds again. You gotta watch it. If you let the weeds overgrow in the Gaia, it'll change into a mushroom. And you're gonna have a bad time. So now we got some big watermelons, big or small, doesn't matter. We can take the small ones. And we're gonna go, this is the BioGenerator. Now there's 2 of them. You only really need 1 of them. But these are seed extractors and these are BioGenerators. So what we can do is not forever forget about the Ambrosia Gaia, because it'll turn into a mushroom. But you can put your fruit into the seed extractor, and that's how you get more seeds. Now, if it gets upgraded, it'll produce a lot of seeds. Right now, at its T1 stage, it's only going to give us like 1 or 2 or 3 seeds. So it's all RNG, like I say. So sometimes it just, the production speed or the maturation speed is so long. The production speed's 8, so it's just horrible. You want a production speed of 1, essentially. The production speed's the only thing you want low. Endurance and lifespan, I'm going to teach you a way to kind of get around that a little bit. There we go, we can finally harvest it. The green means it can be harvested, by the way. So we'll harvest that. Get a couple more chilies here. So we finally got it, and we should have put saltpeter on it, but that was my mistake. We should have got them as big as possible. But what we kind of want to do anyways is put a couple into the seed extractor, and we're going to get some Ambrosia Gaia seeds. And we're going to get a couple watermelon seeds. And then we're going to go to the Botany, oh, this one, go to the seeds, and we're going to get a mushroom, the pack of Chanterelle mycelium. I don't know if I pronounced that right. So let's lay these all out here on the table. Now this, oh, on the ground. On the ground's gonna be a little easy. This is the Botany's best friend. So this is a plant DNA manipulator. And essentially what you can do is you can take traits from other plants and you can put them into seeds of other plants. And you can make like super plants from them, which is kind of cool. You can make all sorts of chemical reactions with them, and it's really fun. Botany is a lot of fun. So what we're going to do is we're going to put the pack of Ambrosia Gaia seeds in. We're going to take a disc from the disc box that we got from our locker, and we'll put it in the disc. And pack of Ambrosia Gaia, empty. And what we want to do is we can extract a trait, any trait, from this seed pack. So we're going to take EarthBlood. That's what we want from the Gaia. We want EarthBlood. And then what we can do is this just stores it. So we can just put it in there for some storage. And what I like to do is just organize it here a little bit. Put it up here. So EarthBlood, production. Now I can use that disc anytime on any other plant. And so the reason why we did that, instead of just keep planting this, is we're gonna grab the watermelon and we're gonna extract perennial growth out of the watermelon seed. Extract that, and we're going to put that in our, and then we're going to put in the mushroom one, and we're going to take a new disc, put it in, and we're going to extract
new command report
fungal
created.
vitality. And every time you extract it, it destroys the seed. So always make sure you have seeds enough. See, everything's dying because it's not getting water, right? So we got to fill it up with some water. Everything has weeds and everything. It's getting a little out of hand, right? You can see how it would get out of hand if you had a lot of these to do, right? So there is a solution. Sometimes when it runs out of water, it'll just die. And as things get older, you got to keep checking them because their potency might go down, their yield might go down. So sometimes you got to kind of re-saltpeter them a little bit to give them back to life. We got EarthBlood, we got perennial growth, we got fungal vitality. Now if we look here with the Gaia, we could just take out the perennial growth and we could put insert right here. And now it has perennial growth. So now it'll keep regrowing every time. I don't need to keep planting it. And then we're going to put fungal vitality also on it. And that's going to make it so it lives for essentially a very long time without dying. And we'll just kind of put that back in. So we're going to take this experimental pack and we'll plop it in here, let's say. And then what we're going to do is, I should have saltpetered these. That was my mistake. If they're saltpetered and they have a higher potency, you only have to use 4. But as you can see here, I'm going to have to use a lot more. So I used the Ambrosia Gaia branches that are on the ground, and I put them into the tray. And now that tray never has to be watered. It'll never get weeds in it. It might a little bit, but it won't even matter. It'll never get pests in it, and it'll pretty much never get toxicity levels in it. Why it's flashing is because I'm not honestly too sure. Oh, there it goes. It just re-updated, I suppose, and now it knows that it's Ambrosia Gaia. And so what that actually is it's not just the Ambrosia Gaia, it's the EarthBlood. It's the trait that you can put in anything. You can put EarthBlood in anything. And so if we look here, this Ambrosia Gaia is going to grow kind of slow. Its production speed is 8. We want that at 1. But there's a trick to this. So what you can do is you can go to the wheat seed and take out a wheat seed, and if we put it into our DNA manipulator, we can see that the production speed of wheat is 1, which is super fast. And so what we're going to do is we're going to take EarthBlood and we're going to put it in the wheat seed. And then we're also, wheat isn't perennial, but we're going to make it perennial. So now it's just going to keep growing every time we harvest it. And then we're also going to give it some mushroom vitality, some fungal vitality here, so it lives for essentially a really long time. And we're going to plant this. Now we got to watch out, this one's still going to need some water here, so let's go get some water. Now usually I have this done a lot quicker, but I'm kind of going in slow steps so you guys kind of can understand what's going on here. And then once we fill these up, let's just saltpeter them and we'll get them nice and big and potent. So we'll look, potency 100, yield 100, or yield 10. It's really good actually. Potency 50, so we're just saltpeter it a bit more. Oh, I put that in there. Oopsie. Let's eject that. We will have to, I'll show you that later. We'll saltpeter this. So let's talk about the biogen, seeing how I just hit it. We'll grab a beaker, let's say, or anything, and you can put BioGenerator's really good for the cook and for making stuff. And what it really wants is nutrition. So if you look at a watermelon seed, it has a nutrient production of 20%, which is insane. So we're going to take all of these watermelons here and we're going to put them in the BioGenerator. And then we're going to activate it. I think someone's getting killed. Beestation. So now it's ready to get harvested. And bammo, all that Ambrosia Gaia. But watch, this wheat one, which is also Ambrosia Gaia, is going to grow so much faster than this one. It may not produce as much, but it'll be 3 times as fast in regrowing its fruit. And at a 100 potency, you only need to put 4 in. So we'll take 4, and see, it doesn't matter, either one, because they both have the EarthBlood in them. Now, if you want to pick up a bunch, you're going to use your PlantBag, and you're going to click, and you can pick up all of it, a whole bunch. And then if you click it again, you can drop it. Or you can look at it, alt-click it, and you can pull them out. And see how much quicker this one's harvesting. See, this one hasn't come back up yet, but that one will. Okay, now I'm going to teach you about hacking, because you got to hack the terminals, the vending machines, to unlock different seeds and chemicals. So we're just going to screwdriver them both. And we want the green light to be on. Now if you see the yellow light go on, do it again until it, see, yellow. Because you don't want it, the seed spitting at you, it kind of sucks. Gets all messy. Red light's off, so we'll do that one. Green light's on. That's the one we want. So we'll do that one. And now when you look, you can open it, and you can see contraband. Now you can open contraband, and that's where you can grow like your cannabis, or you get your strange seeds, your glow shrooms, stuff like that. So sometimes what's going to happen is you're going to mutate something, and you're going to see here that it's going to give you 0 yield. So what do? So what you have to do is you're going to take your empty bottle, your mini bottle here, and you're going to click on it until it goes to 1 unit, transferring 1 unit. And what we're going to do is we'll fill it up with unstable mutagen. Now you can either use a dropper, or you can use one of these. It doesn't really matter. Sometimes it's hard to find the dropper. See, it only sells syringes. So to go to the dropper, you'd have to go make one from a tech fab somewhere. Either Science or Cargo, you can make them. But alternatively, you can use this bottle. You can set it to 1. And I'm going to take out my analyzer here. Now apparently it's giving 2 now. But let's say we want to mess with it a little bit. If it, let's say it is at 0. I don't know how it just went from. Interesting. But what we're going to do is we're going to add 1 unit to it. And what it does is every time I add 1 unit, it changes it. See how it just dropped? And the RNG is bad, but sometimes when it's at 0, you have to do something. So we add 1 unit and it goes up to 1. See, it's changing everything. It's changing production speed, potency, yield. Just by adding 1 unit. Sometimes you can get really good RNG. Today, during my lesson, I'm getting horrible RNG right now. So 4, 8. But 5 yield is better than nothing, right? And so that's how you, if you ever have a plant that has 0 yield, that's what you have to do. So let's check these balloons here. They have 3 yields, so that's not bad. We'll take those balloons. Now we're growing these. These are the eggplants, and these are the ghost chilies. So let's see. We need a certain amount of them for our botany, and then glowberries too. I should put those in. I'm slacking here because I'm trying to teach a little bit, but that's okay. Every round ends and it's a whole new round and everyone forgets about it anyways.
Attention.
Let's put some berries in there. Now a lot of times you don't want to like do all 3 berries like this and then try to mutate every single one, because if they turn out bad, you're not going to have any extra berries. So you always want to kind of have a stock of seeds, and don't ever like let yourself get seedless, essentially. So what I like to do is I always confuse these two. Take a plant bag. I also got some contraband here. And we can fill that up. And we can take it to cargo. I don't know how many, I don't think I have enough ghost chili peppers, but that's yeah, they wanted 10. Now the best thing for botany are bees. And truthfully, should have done this at the very beginning of the shift, but that's okay. Reason, Beestation. And that ain't reason enough. They're fired. And so, you know, all a botanist can do is just ring the bell and leave the bounties there, you know, it's... So that's pretty much botany. It's pretty easy. All you gotta do is just get your Ambrosia Gaia, watch it so it doesn't make a bunch of weeds and turn into mushrooms. Once you get that, you fill up all your trays with it, and you're pretty much golden. Another thing you can do is if you're playing with multiple botanists, is you can take this grass here, and when it's in your grass, you can just click it. And all it'll do is make a grass tile. And then what you can do with the grass tiles, you can grab it, and we'll buy a spade here. We don't have a spade yet. And what the spade is used for is for taking plants out of trays, essentially. But we can use the spade on the grass. And that's going to change it into sand pile. Now we can pick up the sand pile, and we can click it, and we can turn it into sandstone. And with the sandstone, we can make new piles of dirt. Now, you can place them just on the tile itself like that, or you can get other grass tiles. With a crowbar in one hand and a grass in another, you can replace them. And make your botany station full of grass. And I just drag the tile behind me and I pick them up. And presto. And that's how you make grass and make your dirt piles. Now one thing you're also going to want to do with your dirt piles is you're going to want to put Ambrosia Gaia in them. And that's going to, because essentially they're just like a regular tray right now. And then probably a bit better, but I'm not honestly too sure about the differences. But you put in 4 and it turns into a darker patch of soil. And now you have a lot more space to grow more seeds and plants. So when you grow a bunch of food for the cook, what you can do is you grab it here. And you can only hold so much in it, and then you can just bring it to their fridge here. So there's a fridge, depending on the station, there's fridges. I don't know why we have 2 of everything in this station, but it is what it is. So you just gotta in the fridge. Okay, let's talk bees. Bees are great. They'll increase the lifespan and the yield of all your plants. They are amazing. So, let's get some bees open. You get the bee crate from Cargo. If Cargo likes you enough, they'll order it. Here, you get this little hive thing here. You'll put all the trays into it. Click, click, click. You got your beekeeper suit, and you got your fly swatter in case you need it. Now, what you can do with the bee is the queen bee, you can inject her, and anything you inject her with, she becomes. So, to keep things simple, I'll give you one trick. You can inject her with charcoal. Now, pull out some charcoal, and we'll inject her with it. Now, if you ever get stung by one of the bees, it will produce charcoal in your bloodstream instead of poison. And you can't OD on charcoal, so it's a very good thing to do. And now all you gotta do is put your bee inside the beehive, and it's gonna start producing some blackish bees. And then they're gonna go and start pollinating all the flowers and make their yields incredible. So now you may be asking yourself, Damon, how do you know how and what all these plants turn into? Well, my friends, I have the wiki open on my other screen. And all you have to do is use the search tab and search things that you need, or just look through them all, and it kind of cross-references you what they mutate from and to. So if someone ever comes and asks you for something, you can just look it up on the wiki and be like, oh, okay, I need to mutate this plant, and that's how you do it. It's really super easy. Remember, just use 5 units of mutagen, and it's just a lot of patience and RNG, and you'll get it. If the you'll always get it though. There's like, the RNG isn't not going to give it to you. It's just going to take a little bit more time, essentially. And so yeah, you can be an amazing botanist. Botany is one of the most fun I have being an antag, and honestly one of the most fun I have being a non-antag. It keeps you busy throughout the entire shift sometimes, depending on how many people want stuff. Cargo always demands stuff. Everyone wants food. If there's no cook, the cook's gonna want a lot of stuff. People, the bartender may want some stuff to make drinks. The cargo wants stuff to sell. Medical wants stuff to make chemistry out of. Like, mostly the chemists want like forget-me-nots and poppies and things that make kilotane and Baricide or whatever, how it ever is pronounced. But botany is incredibly fun and easy to learn, very hard to master. And there's some really cool stuff you can do with botany. And we'll teach you all that in the next time. But until then, make your Ambrosia Gaia and make the cook happy. See you later.